Welcome back. This is Good Morning Namibia. Now, School of Destiny Associates, SODA, will be hosting the Boys2Men event, a dynamic platform designed to positively influence and mentor young boys on their journey to manhood. Events like Boys2Men are crucial in today's world where many young boys face social pressures, lack of guidance, and limited safe spaces to express themselves. From engaging cook-off competitions and interactive talk shows to the launch of a boys' leadership club, counselling sessions, and a thrilling artist performance, the event promises a holistic and uplifting experience. To shed more details on the event, I'm joined by Mr. Ishmael Nepembe, the director of the 4x4 initiative. Good morning, sir, and welcome back to Good Morning Namibia. It's always such a pleasure and such an honor to be in your company.
Thank you for having me.
How is the initiative going? How are you impacting the lives of boys and young men?
Well, it's going quite well. So one of our flagship programs is a camp that we host twice a year, and parents are giving a lot of positive feedback. One parent mentioned, I don't know what you did with this boy, but he's no longer the same guy.
What did you do with my child?
Yes,
but I'm happy that this one is the one you sent back.
Yes, he's more helpful and more attentive at home and things of that nature, simply because of the culture he experienced at the camp. So he took that positive experience and now he took it back home with him.
I'm sure that's also fuel for you as the facilitators, that what you're doing makes an impact and makes a difference.
Yeah.
It must have been quite rewarding thus far for you
Yes,
as well.
that kind of feedback is rewarding.
Yeah.
Yes.
How's the journey been from a facilitator's perspective for you?
It's quite hectic. It's quite hectic, but because it's a passion project, it's always advisable for you to practice what you preach. So when coaching the boys, I coach them from a perspective of how I also live. The values that we try to instill in them are the same values we live in accordance with in our own personal life. So that makes it actually a bit easier because you're basically just being you and giving them what you know so that they can use that information to try to better themselves as well.
And I think the other advantage is the fact that we're slightly older means that we've also made some mistakes.
Yes.
And we can reflect on those.
Yes.
And also provide non-judgmental guidance.
Yes.
Right?
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Non-judgmental guidance.
Yeah.
A safe space basically for them to be inculcated with the information that will assist them from making the same mistakes that you made. Yeah.
So why is the focus the boy child during this time in society?
Okay, so for instance, if you look at the dropout rates in school, the highest underperformers and so forth is mostly boys. And if you look at crime, generally is always perpetrated by men. Those men were once upon a time boys. So if we don't address some of the situations that they are actually experiencing now from boyhood, they become the terror that we see now in the crime statistics.
And early detection, early intervention is so critically important.
Yes. Get them in the stage where they're still in the developmental stage, and you nurture them, you instill values within them, so when they grow up, they make better choices.
Speak to us about the activities lined up for the day this time around.
Okay, so we are going to start off with an anti-violence march. So we're going to march from UN Plaza to Huama. So it's an anti-violence march, and we're also going to have an anti-violence pledge and the signing thereof as well. And we're going to have the first gentleman hopefully joining us for the march as well, because he's going to be providing the keynote address. Deputy Minister Balotti is also going to be present, and the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Shikongo, is also going to be present. And Indongo Toyota, one of the corporates who's on board, they are also there. And Bokomo as well. And yes, and a few other things.
And what exactly will be unfolding? What will you be doing with the boys?
So one activity is the cook-off. So cooking is, in terms of gender stereotypes, is typically aligned with women, right? But if you think about it, who are the best chefs in the world generally? Think of 5 of the best chefs you can think of is men. So we need to remove that stereotype of cooking is a female thing. So as a man, you can hunt and you can still come back and cook it. So we get them used to being in the kitchen. It's one thing we do at the camp. So like the boy I mentioned earlier whose mom gave positive feedback, of course he can't cook, but he realized that I can actually assist around the kitchen by peeling the onions, or peeling the potatoes, and things
stirring
like that.
the rice.
Stirring the rice.
Yeah.
Just offering some type of assistance, and it actually goes a long way.
And what difference that makes in the family dynamics.
In the family dynamic.
And the wellness of the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So apart from teaching them that survival skill of being able to cook the food that you bought or received, or obtained, what else will you be teaching the young boys?
So outside of the cook-off competition, there's going to be a counseling session. We've partnered with Trauma Healing Network. They're going to come in and speak on mental health and why it's important to address what you're feeling and not to bottle it in. So we also have a talk show. So the talk show is going to be hosted by one of our younger lady coaches. So she's in almost the same age range as the boys. So they're going to have, it's almost like Oprah, but for young people. They're going to be having a talk show and just discussing things that young people typically will be too shy to actually speak up about. And then
Especially with their parents.
Especially with their parents.
Yeah.
So now when they speak about it, they start to realize that, hey, you know, I'm actually not alone in terms of going through what I'm going through. It's a much broader issue that everybody also goes through. So when they speak about it, they start to realize I'm not alone in this. And others have gone through the same thing, and they've got some solutions that I could probably adopt to my own life and yeah, probably progress from there. Yes.
What are the issues that young boys face at the moment?
So there's a saying that says it takes iron to sharpen iron. So we have a situation where you have a lot of single parenthood, and that's predominantly moms with the kids. So there's not a lot of fathers present. And you'll find a lot of boys, when you speak to them, they don't carry themselves like how you would expect a boy who's going to become a man to carry themselves. A lot of them are not very physically active, which is also important for a boy. Once you hit puberty, the testosterone kicks in, and you need some type of release for it. So a lot of them are always sitting at home playing video games, and it's very frustrating for the body. So for instance, a lot of people always speak of mental health. When I speak with the boys, I prefer to use the word mindset, because when you address your mindset, ultimately when you have a positive mindset, it will lead to you having positive outcomes in general. And then you ultimately see that your mental health is actually also very good. But address the mindset, the values, what you do. You need to balance yourself. You have to study, you have to play some sports and things of that nature so you can become a well-rounded individual. And ultimately, it addresses your mental health without you directly wanting to address your mental health issues. Yes.
How big of a component is sexual and reproductive health as part of the, not only sensitization, but also part of the challenges that they deal with?
It's a big one. So one thing we teach the boys at the camp is do not allow your erection to lead your direction. Because, once again, testosterone makes you very overeager. And if you don't learn how to self-control, like to control yourself, you're going to have the situation whereby like we have a lot of fatherlessness because of a lack of positive choices. So if you don't learn to control yourself, you're going
We'll
to...
perpetuate that cycle.
You'll perpetuate the cycle.
Yeah.
So it's very important to learn to self-regulate. Yes.
Speak to us about the Leadership Club and why its introduction is not only timely but critically important.
So the boys' leadership clubs are very important because they are an extension of what we teach at the camp. So for instance, one of the boys, because we always encourage all the boys to go and establish a boys' leadership club at their schools. So he was like, but coach, what if I don't want to establish one at the school? So then I'm telling him, listen, me being here at the camp, I'm here simply because I have information that I can give you that will actually help you better yourself. So you've learned all those things. So you can simply go do the same thing for the boys at your school. So it's not necessarily a thing about you, you're doing it for them. And when he looked at it from that perspective, he's like, okay, that actually makes sense. You know, I may not want to, but I see the need for why I actually need to do that and continue teaching what I've learned here to the rest of the boys.
That's an important point that you're raising. What does the after-sales service component look like? It's one thing to have a boy child at the camp and to transform him under these circumstances. And he goes back and his mom is super impressed and she sends you the feedback. But what does the picture look like 6 months down the line? What does the picture look like after he had established at his school some sort of platform, right?
Yeah.
What does it look like 12 months down the line? How sustainable is it?
Initially, one thing the boys complained about was we have the camp and not much else in between. So we started to try to host Boys2Men type events on a monthly basis. So we have regular engagement. And it's been a bit difficult because we are self-funded and we don't have that much support. So this is now where corporates can come in to help us to exponentially expand the program further so we can actually have more engagements.
And it's in their interest because these are their
It
future
is.
employees.
They're future employees
Yeah.
as well. So it's in their interest for them to actually come in and support us so that we can go further, because there's
Yeah.
a demand for it everywhere, like all around the country. But it's very difficult for us to do it by ourselves. So this is now where government comes in to give us that assistance, where corporates can come in and assist where assistance is needed.
Speaking of which, so how do you ultimately see these platforms aid societal development and growth, particularly from an emotional point of view?
So crime statistics, very high, perpetrated predominantly by the men. So when you address them now, you give them hope. So when they have hope, their mindset shifts from hopelessness to envisioning a better future. So when they envision a better future, they make better choices because now they see the positives of what's happening in terms of the overall society. So a lot of them are very frustrated. So that frustration eventually leads to them getting into substance abuse and things of that nature. So when you paint a roadmap for them that's a little bit more positive, it gives them hope. And hope makes them make better choices generally because they can envision themselves in the future and actually having a family in the future as well. So that's why it's very important.
What happens if a boy reveals to you that they can't go back home because they're being abused at home?
Yes.
What recourse do you then offer them under those circumstances? Because I'm sure some of them may be in crisis, some of them
Yes.
may be in distress,
Yes.
and the situation back home may be dire.
Yeah. So in that situation, we would speak to the teachers at school to then speak to the Ministry of Gender as well to intervene, and then they take it from there. Speak to the churches and so forth also to make an intervention.
Because these things are happening.
These things are happening on a very large scale. And
Yeah.
this is why, for instance, would like to have a multi-purpose center, basically a safe space for the boys to be able to come in, where it's a miniaturized version of what we do at the camp. And if we have that on a national scale, it's going to be easier because then the boys always know where to be able to go to receive mentorship and counseling.
And positive reinforcement.
And positive reinforcement,
Yeah.
yes.
Any final particulars regarding the event that you'd like to share with Namibia?
So we're going to have the Commissioner of Police there. So I actually want him to bring even more male police officers to come and march with us. And I expect boys clubs and churches and male networks to come and also support the anti-violence march and the signing of the anti-violence pledge, and to come and show support that we actually have hope in the sense that men actually want to do something in terms of advocating for change.
And changing the status quo.
Yes,
Yeah.
and corporates need to come through to set up educational stands at Kwama, because Indongo Toyota is going to be there. They will have a stand there. Trauma Healing Network will also have a stand there. So others need to come through.
And you'll be there too.
I'll be there as well.
So,
Yes.
so when, where, and what are those particulars?
Okay, so the event is taking place on this coming Saturday on the 10th. The anti-violence march is going to start at 8 o'clock. So from 8 o'clock we march
From the UN Plaza. Yeah.
to Kwama, and we get to Kwama, and then the festivities will begin there.
Very well. Is there a cost involved, an investment at the door?
Yes, it's $50
Per boy child.
per boy child.
Yeah.
So parents, churches, schools, drop off your boys there.
And does the age matter?
We were targeting 10 to 20, but some parents with kids just a little bit younger and some just a little bit older than 20 are also welcome to bring the boys.
They wouldn't be shown the door.
No, they wouldn't be shown
Yeah.
the door at all.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the great work that you and the team continue to do. We appreciate you.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ishmael Nepembe, Director of the 4x4 Initiative, talking to us about why it's so critically important to transform the mindset of the boy child. We'll be back after a brief break.